Business Leadership South Africa has also echoed the sentiment that South Africa requires economic growth as well as revenue generation. BLSA CEO Busi Mavuso discusses this with us. A good evening to you. The call, of course, for stable government to provide leadership, including economic direction, is what has been made. But what is envisaged of that makeup given where we find ourselves?
Dumisang, good evening. We really don't know. We're just hoping that it would be something that would serve, the country, serve the South African economy, serve the South African citizens. I've been seeing certain media reports, and I don't know how true those are, and they're talking about the fact that the ANC is already on record as saying that they will not make an irresponsible move. They are already on record as saying that they will maintain its current economic policy and stick to the course. And that is very promising and that is very positive. I mean, you would have seen, Dumisang, that the markets at the moment are very jittery. And they are jittery because markets are premised on certainty and the lack thereof is problematic. And the jitters are as a result of not knowing, who the coalition partners are going to be. So policy clarity and policy certainty are key for markets. And we have been thrust in an environment where there is huge speculation on the continuity from a policy direction perspective. And this will be all clear once we know who the coalition partners are going to be. And that will matter because those coalition partners will give us clarity in terms of what policy direction, are we going to take. And that will obviously have a huge impact on the investor confidence. It will have a huge impact on the market confidence. So we don't have a preference as the business community in terms of what the shape and form of the coalition should look like. But what we would like to see, Dumisang, is that this should be a coalition that really is founded on solid, non-negotiable principles, a coalition that will prioritize substance over style, a coalition that will put the country first, a coalition that will ensure that men and women of integrity who wish to guide this country on the path of growth and prosperity emerge, a coalition that will deliver a capable state to Dumisang, because ours has not been a capable state for quite a long time, a coalition that will deliver a stable government. We are in desperate need of a coalition that will ensure that there is meritocracy within government. We need a coalition that will continue to Dumisang the vital work that has already been done to put our economy on the right track. A coalition that will ensure that it creates jobs, and it increases the tax revenue. So those are the kind of things that will really settle the market, that will restore investor confidence, that will ensure, that business continues to have a conducive environment or starts to have a conducive environment within which to operate, because ours has also not been a conducive environment for quite some time now.
It sounds clear enough, and you indicated a short while ago that there isn't necessarily a specific preference outside of what you have outlined as direct issues that need to be tackled on the side of economic growth in South Africa. How would you respond then to criticism leveled against business that there is a seeming sentiment of wanting to dictate what the country's political makeup would be and suiting that narrative of, in inverted commas, a market-friendly outcome?
So we definitely wouldn't want to dictate. Even if we tried, no one would listen to us. We have tried, that for quite some time now, and it always falls on deaf ears. So we've made it very clear, and we're very unapologetic, Dumisang, about the fact that we are not going to support a coalition that is going to bring about policies of mass economic destruction. Business is not going to support a coalition that is going to introduce nationalization. We are not going to support a coalition that is actually going to introduce new taxes beyond what the narrow tax base can handle. And I think we're very clear in as far as that is concerned. We're also very clear, that the coalitions that we've seen in the local governments have not been useful. They've not served anyone. They've not served, the communities in as far as service delivery is concerned. They've not served, the contributing or the the enabling of a conducive environment. They've not served investor confidence. Those are coalitions that have been chaotic. We would not like to see that. Those are coalitions that have been strained. Those are coalitions that have had ineffective decision-making due to disunity. Those are coalitions that have actually failed to implement even the most basic of services. Those are coalitions that have actually, focused on exchanging favors between parties. And that has really created an environment of corruption. And if those requirements, or if those basic criteria and that we're putting across as business come across as being dictating, then it is what it is. Because I guess we all clear, that these are things that are really going to have to serve all South Africans. Coalitions have not always been bad, Dumisang, and you do get countries where coalitions work. I mean, look at the coalition in Germany. That is a coalition where the different parties sit, Dumisang, and they look at what is the true north? What do they need to achieve as a country? In our case, we know that the eradication of unemployment, the 65% with unemployment, the 42% unemployment in terms of the expanded definition, where you have more people that are unemployed than those that are employed in all the provinces except Gauteng and the Western Cape, is the biggest albatross around our necks. So I'd like to think that that is where we should start, to say, if that is what we're trying to eradicate, what are the impediments in the current environment that have actually made it not possible for this government to deal with the issues of unemployment? And you would know that the issue is that we have not had a conducive environment because we have not done reforms. The policies, around policy clarity, policy certainty have not been what the markets and investors would actually like to see. So you start there. We've already started the great work of ensuring that we do the structural reform. Let's accelerate that, so that you can get business confidence and investor confidence. And if you have investor confidence, Dumisang, then you get investment. And if you get investment, then you can actually, get the economy to grow at the right level. I see the conversation that we've just had with Lulu. She talks about the fact that the 0.1% economic growth, when our population is growing at 1.6%, that means, Dumisang, that South Africans are getting poorer by the day. You don't even call that. It's not even a growth, by the way, it's a contraction. But we have grown at 0.6% in 2023. We are set to grow at 0.8% in 2024, and we are predicted to grow at about 1.2% in 2025. Those levels of growth are not going to serve the South African economy, and they're definitely not going to help in terms of eradicating the unemployment levels. So if that is the genesis and the base upon which the coalition discussions start, to say that this is our true north and this is what we'd like to eradicate, we'd like to bring investment into this country. So I'm sure, therefore, that the principles, therefore, and this coalition should be one that has a single-minded focus of eradicating unemployment. It should be a coalition, Dumisang, which is willing to compromise in favor of the greater good. It should be a coalition that is not going to be about politics or ideology. It should be a coalition that is about what is good for the country. And I don't see how that can be interpreted as dictatorship, because I think we're trying to ensure, that we all get, what would really be progressive and would ensure that we change the economic trajectory of the country, and we can get ourselves out of this economic rut that we've been in for quite some time now.
As a brief parting shot, what then do we say when we look at checking out politics and talking pure economics and what is required in South Africa? The mere fact that the economics essentially are the new politics, but in South Africa, seemingly, that is not necessarily the carrot that is dangled in front of the horse.
So as I said, I think the majority of South Africans have been very clear. They've voted for parties that are committed to clean governance, Dumisang. They've voted for parties that would retain the integrity of the constitution. They voted for parties that will restore the rule of law. They voted for parties that will continue to protect and safeguard the independence of our democratic institutions, including the judiciary and the Reserve Bank. So we need a coalition that is really going to respect what the majority of South Africans would like to see. We do not want a spectacle of parties putting their narrow ambitions first. And certainly we do not want a government that is going to reverse the progress that has been made. And I really hope, that we can, or the political parties and the coalition discussions that are being held can really deliver that for South Africans.
Thank you so much, as always, for your contribution. BLSA CEO Busi Mavuso speaking to us about that formation's views on the current uncertainty post the May 29 elections, as well as the latest data on gross domestic product, South Africa's economy shrinking by 0.1%.